All right, looks like we're live. Look at this weird sun casting across me, I guess. All right, this is session 11 of a little series I started back in December called Healthy, Wealthy, Wise. So this is session 11. We've got one more to go. And these topics really have um, revolved around lessons that I have learned over the past couple of years that I wanted to share with you and bring to you. Some are business lessons, some are personal lessons, and some are life lessons. So I hope that they help you build a happier, more successful life, a happier, more successful business, and maybe save you a little bit of the learning curve of what you're doing. So, we're going to talk about living in abundance. And I know some of you are thinking, yeah, well, it's easy to do that if you have plenty, right? But abundance really is a mindset. It's the way that we look at things. It's the way that we approach situations and deal with obstacles and setbacks. We all have them. No one's life is perfect. No one's life is charmed. We all have stuff that we have to deal with. And what's going on in our head as we approach that really has so much bearing on the outcome. And I often work as a coach and as a direct selling leader with people who are really stuck in this scarcity mindset. And it affects us in everything that we do, from the type of toilet paper we buy to, where we go on vacation, and, do we stay in jobs that we hate that make us miserable? Are we scarcity focused, or are we abundance focused? So the thing is that we have all only ever existed in our own headspace from our first cognitive moment of being able to think. um, that our thought process has been with us, and things affect it. We'll talk about that in a minute. But nobody has ever given us the permission to question the thoughts that go through our head. We think about 70,000 thoughts a day. And very rarely do we stop and say, hang on a second, let's go back to that one. Let's circle back and talk about this. Like, whose attitude is that? Who said that? And so I want to give you permission today to challenge or question some of the thoughts that you have. Just because you think it doesn't make it true. There's all kinds of voices in there. We pick them up along the way. It's the voice of our parents, our grandparents, um, society around us. Particularly as children, young children, we're so impressionable. And we can take a very nonchalant comment, and it can really become part of our personal narrative and really, really hold us back. And this is something that I have been working on personally, and it has changed the way that I approach coaching too, because business coaching very much is, what do you want? Okay, how do you want to go about getting it? Here's what I recommend. Let's break it down to the action plans. Great, now go take action. But if someone is stuck in one of these negative mindsets, they're not going to go. They're not going to be able to go take action. They're going to self sabotage or stand in fear or whatever. So this is hugely important in helping others have breakthroughs. So scarcity mindset. How do we get it? Are we born with it? Probably not. There's a big argument, of course, the nature versus nurture argument, but we can develop a scarcity mindset through our own experiences. Growing up in poverty, for example, can teach us that there's never enough. So we have to stretch things and save and cut corners and skimp on things. We can also inherit this scarcity mindset. We call these generational curses. We can inherit all kinds of generational curses. I'm sure you've heard this before. Tell me in the comments if you have generational curse. It's an older term. So that's really one of two ways that we get it. And I'll just give you an example. My grandmother, Lorraine, grew up during the Great Depression. And throughout her life, she saved everything. Let me know if you know anybody like this. You don't have to tell me who it is, but really everything. I mean, she would have 6-inch pieces of thread, sewing thread. And I would say, Grandma, what in the world are you going to do with that? That's crazy. She just have boxes of it. It's not crazy, but like boxes of this stuff. But she had gone for so long with nearly nothing. She had 2 dresses for, I think it was about a 2-year period of her telling the story. And she wore one day, and while she washed and dried the other one, because there weren't washers and dryers, so you hand washed it and you hung it out and you let it dry in the sun or wherever. So she would wear one and wash one and wear one and wash one. And she did that for probably about 2 years. Incidentally, my grandmother went on to have a famous love for shoes and clothing and jewelry and hats and all the trappings of what success felt like to her, because she had two dresses for a really, really long time in a very formative time of her life, when you were looking to date and you wanted boys to think that you were cute of her in her coming of age. She had these two dresses that she had to wear. And she instilled in me, don't ever walk out of the house not looking 100% put together. Put on some lipstick, put on some earrings. Oh my gosh, I forgot earrings. Don't tell Grandmother Lorraine. But she really taught me how to dress, and that was important. And it was an important measure of how people kind of sized you up, because she had to go through that. So she also learned to save everything, because everything was in short supply. And I have hilarious stories I will not put on this live, but maybe in my Facebook community, I'll tell you some hilarious stuff that she used to do that she's like notorious in our family for doing, saving things, because they didn't have enough. And living that way as a young woman left an indelible mark on her for the rest of her life. And it was a fear or an insecurity that she unwittingly passed on to me. That's the generational curse part of the equation. And that belief can be reinforced through our own experiences or through more experiences. Our brain is really good at protecting us. And one of the ways that the brain protects us is it looks for things that we need to be protected from. So if we have lived in scarcity, had gone without, then anytime it comes up throughout the rest of our life, our brain goes, oh, we know what this is. There's not enough food, or there's not enough whatever. It reminds me of a hilarious joke about being Scottish or Irish, which I'm Scotch Irish, and that the more we exercise, the more weight we gain. It's like our DNA going, we're gonna save you from the English, I guess. So the more you run, the more weight you pack on. Anyway, sorry if you're English, don't want to hurt your feelings, but just a cute little anecdote. But that is reinforced through experiences that we have, that if we didn't have that scarcity mindset, we may not have that takeaway. And we all went through scarcity to some degree or another during the global pandemic. Shelves looked bare by our American standards. I mean, it looked like something that happens in communist countries. Just the lack of product on the shelves in the grocery store, particularly. We all recall not being able to order toilet paper in, and looking for creative creative alternatives to that, right? For the scarcity minded among us, that was traumatic. That can trigger a little trauma response, because it's like, oh my gosh, it's just like XYZ. It reinforces that fear of not having enough. So if you've come through that period and you feel like you're not quite yourself, not as adventurous, not as risk taking as you once were before that, this is why. I can tell you why, and it makes a little bit of sense. But I think when we started this series, I said we've all come through this global phenomenon together, and we haven't really taken a moment to breathe and reflect on it, and how it changed us, how it affected us. What lessons did we learn for the good? What lessons do we need to leave behind us? And to give ourselves a little bit of grace if we're not exactly returning to normal as we had hoped, because of the scarcity piece. I can't wait to hear what y'all think about this. Hopefully, you're just really like, there's ahas everywhere, little light bulbs going on out there. So if you recall, the scarcity led to hoarding, and people criticize hoarding, right? Is they took everything and now there's not enough for everyone else. 100% true. But these are terribly scarcity minded people who are like, oh, I need 12 cases of toilet paper, right? I got to get it all because there's not going to be enough. This is all we have. So I have to take care of me and mine. They're not thinking globally or community wise or anything like that. Incidentally, we have standing Amazon orders. So during that, my mailman 2 days in a row, our subscriptions got messed up. And he delivered paper towels one day and toilet paper the next day. And I felt so guilty. I was like, I swear this is a long-standing order. I get once a month, get this. Do you need anything? Because I just felt so bad. And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, okay, are you sure? Because now I have toilet paper and paper towels, man. You could really could have made a profit. It could have turned a great profit. There was a business model for you. But anyway, people who really have scarcity issues were hoarding things. And that aggravated the issue, the problem, the shortages for everyone, and it caused anxiety. So we lived for 2.5 years with a lot of anxiety. Many of us still do. If you're immunocompromised or you live with someone who is, there's still a lot of anxiety and fear around this. Um, and there's no surprise. I find it fascinating that scarcity kind of has the root word scare, and that's really what we're dealing with is fear. And most of the things that hold us back and hold us down and keep us from stepping into our greatness are fear-based. They're all fear-based in one way or the other. We act differently when we're scared. We make different decisions when we're scared. We react to people differently when we're scared. So think about that. Let that kind of settle in. Am I playing scared? Am I functioning in scarcity? This whole concept to me is so beautifully illustrated by a childhood. Well, it's not childhood; it's a biblical parable, but it's one that we were all taught in childhood. Those of us who went to Judeo-Christian school, probably. It's the parable of the talents, and most of y'all remember this. Let me know if you do. And talents, in this instance, that's the translated word, means a sum of money. But I find it super ironic that talents are also talents. And sometimes when we're functioning in scarcity, we're not letting our talents shine either. We're not doing everything to the best of our ability. We can easily be taught to play on our belly. Society will teach us that in 100 different ways. So anyway, it can directly be related to our individual talents. So I want you to think about that a little bit as I talk through. I'm just going to briefly, I think everybody knows the story, but if you recall, a great lord had three most trusted servants, actually two most trusted servants, and one that he was testing. And he was going to travel for some period of time, and he left the servants these talents, this money, and left them to oversee the money that they had been given and the property in his absence, and take care of it and make sure that when he returned, everything was flourishing. So the first two servants took a risk, right? They were functioning in abundance. They looked at the money that they had been given, those talents that they had been given, and I just lost the word. I should use notes. It would really help a lot, wouldn't it? They invested those so that they would grow and bear fruit by the time their great Lord came back. The third, functioning in scarcity, buried it in the ground so that no one could get to it and nothing bad could happen to it. And in his mind, from his frame of reference, that was the best way that he could serve his Lord, was to bury it and keep it safe so that I don't lose it. So he's right. He didn't lose anything, but he didn't gain anything either. So when the Lord of the Manor returned, he praised the first two for their ingenuity and their courage, their faith. And the third he cast from his kingdom. It's pretty harsh, huh? Like, yikes. I don't know. But the message is very clear. When you think about it, scarcity thinking will leave us without the wealth and success that we deserve. It will leave us with nothing, right? Because we risk nothing, so we gain nothing. And eventually, whatever it is, money, let's say you can't just sit on your $100,000 and think that's going to be enough. You need to invest that. You need to take a few risks with it. Not a lot, but be willing to move it to a different bank who's going to give you a higher yield. Invest with some stocks, work with someone who's knowledgeable here and put that money to work for you. Let that money make you money. So here's the great news. You're not stuck where you are. If you've been bequeathed this generational curse, I can help you cure yourself of it. We can shift from scarcity to abundance. And it really is just a mindset thing. Just like the body, we can exercise abundance thinking and slowly shift that direction. So let's explore these two ways of thinking. And I would encourage you to write down the things that resonate with you, because this is kind of life changing stuff. And what will happen is you'll think about this over the next couple of days. You might even dream about it a little bit, which is always your mind processing things. So jot down anything that really, really resonates with you and come back in a few days and watch it. And I think you'll see ways that you can change your situation, change your income, to build your business, whatever it is that you want to build a nest egg for retirement, whatever you want, I think you'll come back in a few days and you'll have a little bit of a different vision. At least I hope that you have a little bit of a different vision around it, a different perspective on how it all works. So let me give you some examples of scarcity, what scarcity sounds like versus what abundance sounds like. So scarcity focuses on everything we have to lose, where abundance focuses on what we have to gain. A great example is, let's say you hate a job, they treat you terrible. They don't give you incentives and don't give you promotions and whatever, but you've been there a long time, so it's safe, it's secure. You don't want to lose that job because it's all you have, right? But there's hundreds of other jobs out there for you, other places that would treat you better. It is a statistical fact that you make more money throughout your lifetime if you change companies than if you stay at one company for a long period of time, because they don't work to keep you. This is a true statistic, unfortunately. So making that move, while it can be terrifying because you don't want to lose what you have, right, or make a mistake, abundance mindset says, but look what I'm going to, and look what I can build there, and look at the opportunity that I'll have there that I might not have here. But fear and scarcity keeps us stuck in a job where we're probably not very happy. Many of you probably love your jobs and you're happy there, but many of you do not love your jobs and you feel stuck there and you're scared to leave. Let me know if that, hopefully that didn't hit too hard. Scarcity focuses on what we can't do versus what we can do. Abundance wants to talk about the cans, right? Not the can'ts. So scarcity says, I can't be successful like these other people and work 4 hours a day because I have kids. So here's what I can't do. And scarcity just focuses us on I can't be successful because XYZ. Abundance says, all true, but I can find small blocks of time to work my business, and I can be successful in a different way, my way, a more creative way. So abundance thinking allows us to be creative in our situation versus stuck and in this black and white mentality of, if I can't do it like they do it, then I can't do it at all. And so pity me, woe is me, right? It focuses on, very similarly, obstacles and limitations, and abundance focuses on potential solutions and again, what we can do. Scarcity says to us, and this is one of the scariest words in all of English to me. This is all you have. Holy cow, that'll put the fear of God in you, won't it? This is all you have. And that is scarcity screaming at you, saying, this is it. Is this cautionary sometimes? Yes. Am I talking about going to Vegas and putting everything you own down on black? No, of course I'm not talking about that. We got to be reasonable. But that mentality of, this is all I have, this is all we have, this is all we have. It's crippling. You can't make good decisions when you're that fearful. Abundance says, this is what we're starting with. And we can take this, I can take this, and I can grow this. I can quadruple this with the right action, with the right activity, with the right mentorship, with the right attitude. I can take this and I can make more than we currently have now. Scarcity says, you're stuck. Abundance says, where I am today is not where I have to stay. But scarcity wants to tell you, no, this is all you're ever going to be. This is all you're ever going to have. This is it, right? That's the scarcity mindset. And it's really important that you hear this so that you can start to hear yourself say it. Because again, we're never conditioned to question these random thoughts that run through our head. We just take them as the truth. And, that's the truth. That's our reality. And then we allow it to become our reality because we allow it to get us stuck. So I'll do a few examples for my friends in direct selling. This one's actually for everybody. One of the best lessons I was ever taught is to work harder on yourself than you do on anything else, your personal development, because that's what's going to get you where you want to go in life, is your personal development, the level to which you are willing to rise. And it's hard work. You do it in therapy. You do it by listening to great speakers. You do it by working with coaches, which scares people. I saw a comment the other day somewhere on Facebook that someone was having a rough time, but they weren't a therapy person. And I just thought, honey, what does that mean to you? There's 50 kinds of therapy. Yoga, traditional Eastern yoga, which I might have my yoga instructor on at some point, is a meditative practice. It is an exercise. Yes, there's talk therapy, but there's so many other ways to grow, to shed old stories that are holding us back. And it's hard work, personal development is. But when we're committed to it, really everything changes for us. This is where our life begins to change, to be exposed to new ideas and big ideas, and to shed the old ideas that we may have been raised with, or maybe, whatever. I find most women come to me when they're in their 40s. I do a profile that really kind of unlocks the mystery of you. It's like the Rosetta Stone of how you're put together. And I do most of my work with women in their 40s because I think we get to that point and we think, okay, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I'm not happy. I don't understand why. I need help. And so we do this little profile. I call it a success blueprint. And anyway, because hopefully we all get to a point where we think, okay, I'm ready to be more, and I'm ready to work with a coach, even though that sounds kind of scary, or I'm ready to go to have therapy or whatever. I'm ready to do the scary stuff. So scarcity in developing yourself sounds like, oh, I don't have money to attend a conference in person or even the virtual. Gosh, they have virtual options now. I don't have money to do that, right? What you gain by doing that will help you make money, quadruple the size of your business, tenfold the size of your business. I can't pay a sitter to watch my child while I go to a meeting. I don't have that kind of money, right? I can't pay somebody to clean my house. Pay someone to clean your house. Do something more probative with the time that you would be cleaning your house. Some people really like it. If you hate it, it makes me sad. And I waste a whole day doing it. So I've lost all of that time, all the money that I could have made during that time. And now I feel sad too. So it's just a total bummer for me. I can't pay for that training program. That's crazy. I want free training. Y'all, free training. And I say this to someone offering this. This is really a little passion play of mine, these 12 topics. But free training is a sales pitch to get you to buy something. They just make you sit through the sales pitch. It's like when they give you the free condo rental for the weekend, but you got to spend 4 hours in a sales training or a sales pitch. That's not a free condo rental, right? So quit relying on the free stuff and go for the good stuff, because your time is precious. If someone's willing to give you knowledge for $50 or $100, that's going to be a game changer for you. Why spend 100 hours sitting in on free training? Pay the $75 and move on. I can't afford to invest in a coach. A good coach will change your life because there's that third party objective that is helping you challenge your thought processes, the way that you do things. And we just do it by rote. Most of us are running on autopilot all the time. So a coach is going to say, hey, let's back up. Repeat what you just said. Talk to me about that. So abundance knows that to have more, we have to become more, that when we invest in ourselves, we get that back tenfold. Women are terrible at investing in themselves. And abundance knows that we have the power to make the money we need to invest in ourselves and our business, whether that be a coach or training or whatever. Traditional therapy for something else. Abundance knows, hey, I can go make the money to pay for that therapy. Right now I'm doing acupuncture. Holy cow, y'all. I love it so much. Oh, Dr. Chris was on a couple of weeks ago talking about the magic of acupuncture. All right, let's look at scarcity in relationship to team building. And this this will be very familiar if you're a leader, because your people say it. And if you're struggling to build a team, I would love to hear from you how many of these things you say to yourself. I don't want to recruit her. She'll take all my clients. I don't want to share the business with him. I need the sale today, right? Recruiting is, we make money down the road. Selling something, we make money today. I can't sign her up. I need her to hold a party for me. I want to be the only one in the area. And people will company jump. They always ask, this is always a scarcity question. Well, how many consultants in the area? Doesn't matter. They can stack them up 10 deep. Not going to hurt my business. Also, we live in a global village, guys. You can sell cross country, state to state, anywhere you want to. It doesn't matter how many consultants are in your area. Most of them are hobbyists anyway, but that's this mentality of, I have to be the only one to make any money. Not if you're good, not if you're willing to evolve your skill set. Doesn't matter how many else are in your area. And the belief that there are only so many clients and I have to have them all. So I don't want to recruit. I don't want to let any of that go. Abundance says, I'm surrounded by thousands of people who want what I have. And it's true. Whatever you're selling, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands. There are 330 million people in the US. Some of them, many of them, at least half of them want what you're selling. There is a limitless supply of business. Here's the fact: you can't handle all of the business out there by yourself. You can't go do great trade shows alone. You need business partners in crime. You need business associates that you're doing this with. That's why team is so important. Abundance says, my mission isn't to be a salesperson, but to grow a team of salespeople. Do you see? It's just different. I need to sell $1,000. No, I need to build a team of people selling $1,000. Wow, that's how we build a big vision and get big success. Abundance says, I want to change the lives of others and give them what I have and empower them to build their dream lives. It's such a different mindset. So I'll go back to comments later, but I'd love to know what that says to you, if it resonates with you, if you've had a light bulb click on and go, oh yeah, I'm thinking too small. I'm thinking about, I want to sell $1,000, so I make $500. No, I'm capable of building an empire, opening stores across the United States, right? Like Starbucks, tons of them. All right, so what do we do now? So, all right, Michelle, I hear you. Okay, maybe this scarcity abundance mindset is a real thing, and I really could shift my thinking. How do I begin? We begin by catching ourselves in that moment of scarcity, that moment where we utter that fearful phrase that keeps us kind of locked up. Most of us aren't even aware that we're thinking from that place. So we first have to gain the awareness. Scarcity thoughts, here's a cheat sheet, often contain words like can't, don't, won't, never, ever, always, everybody, what if, oh my gosh. So when you're hearing yourself say that, so you have to slow down enough. This is my problem with multitasking. Whatever you're doing, your brain is running like a computer in the background. So if you're doing 19 things, you can't hear yourself and get in tune with yourself. So slow down a little bit. Start listening to what you say. When you catch yourself in scarcity, stop. I mean, really stop. Not, oh, Michelle talked about that. That's terrible. I shouldn't do it. Stop. Write it down. Really, really capture it. Challenge that thought. Is this coming from a place of abundance, or is this coming from the voice of scarcity? Is what I just said rooted in fear? And if it is, we really, really need to work on that. So we're going to catch ourselves in the moment. We're going to capture that thought. We're going to look at it. It's going to take you 30 seconds to do this. At some point, it'll become rote, but just like working out for the first time, learning a routine or whatever. I go to the physical therapist. It's hilarious. They have to tell me every time how to do the exercises. One day, I hope they won't. I'll just know how to do it. I did better today. But capturing that and spending a little bit of time with it, it's more time consuming in the beginning, challenging the thought and then reframing it with the positives of abundance. Affirmations are great this way. So let's say that you say, there's just not enough customers out there, or it's too saturated. I love saturation. I hear it all the time. It's too saturated. My favorite thing is, no, there's 330 something million Americans. It's not possible for your little bitty tiny company that has less than a 2% market share. Most of you, there may be some examples that have more than 2%, but no one's broken 5% market share of all of the people out there. You have 300, 600 friends on Facebook. They all have 300, 600 friends on Facebook. There's so much out there. There's so much business out there. There's so many ways to connect without being scammy and, icky and cold calling people. There's so many ways to connect. So we have to reframe that thought that there's too many people. Oh, I should go to another company. It's still the same 330 million Americans out there, right? It doesn't matter if you change companies or not. Sometimes it's the right move, but usually it's just geography. And unless you fix the problems here of scarcity, then wherever you go, you're going to have the same issues company to company. And if you let it go on long enough, you'll convince yourself that you're the problem, that you're bad at this. And that really isn't the case. You just haven't learned how to step out of scarcity into abundance. And this is something I do a lot of work with in one-on-one coaching and then in small group coaching too. So if you want to work on this a little bit, let me know. There's somewhere where we can fit you in and help you make this shift that's going to change everything for you. So we want to reframe it with the positives of abundance. I love motivational quotes and things like that. I post them all over my house. It's kind of funny, write them on Post-it notes. I have a whole Post-it note wall up here just in case I need a positive. Just pull it down. You also want to surround yourself with people who live and thrive in abundance. Choose to spend your time with people who think big thoughts and dream big dreams. This may not be your childhood friends. It may not be your family of origin. That's okay. You can love your childhood friends and your family of origin, but make new contacts. People that will grow you and stretch you. And this is one reason I always encourage people to go to their company conference. It puts you in big rooms with big people who think big thoughts, and it'll change your life. And then finally, fill your life with abundance. Read good books. Don't read the news. Don't watch the gossip stuff. Quit watching the reality TV nonsense. It's just, ugh, it's so icky. It's so icky. I hate to keep harping on the Bachelorette, but that's just icky. It just pits women against each other or men against each other. And I mean, talk about scarcity, right? There's one person and they get to pick among everybody else. So how much scarcity are you living in, and how fearful and insecure are you in that moment? It's just anything like that. I hardly ever watch TV, cooking shows, and really cooking shows. Fill your mind with abundance. Read good books. Listen to podcasts. Listen to books on tape. Fill your mind with positive things, videos like I hope this is, to strengthen and reinforce that abundance bias and quieten down that voice of scarcity that in most of us is innate, and it's been with us all of our lives. So there's my tips on moving from scarcity to abundance. And when you live in abundance, you function so differently. Everything is going to change for you, but it is a process to get there. So let me know when you listen what you thought, and what are you employing this in your daily life, and what changes are you seeing? So that's it for session 11, and we'll be back with 12. And I think we have a bonus 13 because there were just so many great people that I wanted to put on and for y'all to hear from. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.